A couple things. I don't know why I'm glitching like that. We're doing New Nightmare tonight. We are also bringing back the segments for you old school viewers of the show, UPRE, UPR back then. And oh, did I forget to mention that tonight is the first episode of the Halloween Spectacular? Let's start the show. All right, that was a short as hell intro. Chris, thank you in the background for laughing at me. All right, I'm not alone. I couldn't do this alone. This is my season. I love this season. I look forward to it. Forget Christmas. Forget whatever we do for Thanksgiving. Whatever the hell we were doing throughout the summer. No more MCU, please God. Though I will be watching Loki. Will we be doing that? I don't know. We'll find out. Anyway, let me bring on my co-host. I'm going to start with the man who proposed this one tonight. It's Mike Knox. Mike, how are you doing, sir?
What's going on, man? It's your season. I'm here to be jolly and festival. You said pick a movie. I picked one that, not too much of a popular one, but I remember watching it 20-something years ago. I thought it was great. So I wanted to rewatch and see what I think about it today. So that's why I picked it.
I am going to piggyback on something you said in a moment when we get to our different segments, but I think you made some lucid points there. E Boogie, E, we haven't seen you in a long time. Where you been?
Just been working.
E, I feel you. The economy feels you.
Yeah.
It has been tough, especially in this area. We live in the same area. We're trying to make it, people. We are trying to make it. Last but not least, we have the person who sabotaged me with that incredibly short intro. It's the executive consultant. Sir, how you doing?
Look, I'm a busy man. I don't have time to be doing intro after trailer after graphic. I ain't got that kind of time on my hands. But it's good to see all you fine dark shirt people here. It's a good day. It's a good day. And speaking of the area, I'll be in the area next Friday, and I want to go see The Haunting of Something. And somebody can tell me what the name of that movie is. It's starring Michelle Yeoh.
It sounds great. Are you talking about that new detective movie that she's in? With Poirot or something like that?
I don't know. I just know Michelle Yeoh's in it, and I want to see it.
Okay. Well, I'll Google Michelle Yeoh. I'm sure.
Charmaine says I give the movie a thumbs down. Okay.
Twin, where you been?
I can see the resemblance.
More on that later. Chris, I'm sorry. You have something.
Are you going to actually also next weekend when I'm in town? It will be Comic-Con.
Let's save that for after the show tonight. New Nightmare. Charmaine is in the building. Thank you, Charmaine, for being here since day one. We appreciate you. I forget the order of the segments, but let's do the synopsis first. I'm going to bring that over to Mike Knox. Let him introduce this, and he can start off the first one, which I believe is Best of, Worst of. What did you think of this movie? What is it about, Mike? Let me help you out here.
New Nightmares. I mean, 1994, this movie came out. It was supposed to be just a continuation of the original Nightmare on Elm Street movies. Robert Englund, Freddy Krueger. Heather's back reprising her role as well. But it's a little twist, a little bit of reality joins the real world of this movie. And that's where I kind of get confused watching this film. And you could probably get confused, audience, watching this film. But was it good? Was it bad? I mean, we'll talk about it momentarily. Best parts, worst parts. I mean, it's a lot of good things in this movie. It's a lot of bad things in this movie. I think this is one of the lowest grossing film in the history of Nightmare on Elm Street. So that says something there. I remember the anticipation for this movie was high, but it did not deliver. So I'm curious to see what you guys have to say, and I'll pass the baton for right now.
All right. E, do you want me to be chivalrous, or would you like somebody else to go first?
I'll knock it out real quick. Yeah, this movie was really interesting to me. I've seen it a couple times. It's definitely remarked on film when it comes to people that are enthusiastic about the horror genre. I really like that I can see kind of pieces of this film that align to the Scream franchise. It just felt very we're in it, and they know we're in it, and they know they're in it. So we're kind of in on the joke here with this one. I love that I kind of felt the more intensity, I guess, of Freddy Krueger. He felt like menacing in this one in a way that, obviously, yes, he was terrifying in the original series, but in this one, he just felt more. I felt more scared of him. I don't know why. It just felt not realistic, but because it was coming into like a more reality, and you can kind of see the way that reality would blend with the dream and kind of where it went toward the end of the film. I guess I just felt that, it just kind of felt like, oh, that could be me, you know what I mean? And it's just very like intense. So I think that I love kind of like bringing the reality to it, and all the different artists that made cameos from the original series. Robert Englund was great. The guy that plays the lady's father, Nancy's father.
Mm-hmm. John Saxon, yes, he was excellent in this. And I don't know, it just it hit a tone with me that the original series didn't. It was just fully separate from this. This kind of like veered off into a different direction that I found especially appealing. So yeah, I thought it was interesting. It was pretty cool. E is always making cogent points. Mike, you want to end on this, or Chris? I can go. It doesn't matter.
No, I mean I'll go right now. I'll tell you. Who picked this movie? Was Mike? Mike. Hey, so when you picked this movie, how bad was it?
When I picked the movie, I typically try to pick movies that I actually like. I want to, and then I was trying to switch them up lately and watch movies that I don't remember, want to review, see how they, how they marinate over the years. So I wanted to do Freddy versus Jason because it's something that I never really got a chance to get into. That was already done. We had done it before. So I said, what, let's do something else that I thought back in '94 I loved.
So was it good?
Oh, is it time for me to tell you that already in the part of the show? Is it good?
I'm not talking about the movie. I'm talking about the crack you were hitting when you picked this movie. Because there's no way you can sit here and tell me that this was a good movie for our horror time. But we'll talk about that later. I'll just pass it over to T.I. You don't know me.
Now I named myself T.I. I could have named myself Melodrama because everybody was swinging for the fences in this movie right here. But it's T.I. Why did I call myself T.I.? Because the whole movie I'm looking for Freddy, and I'm like, where he at though? And I couldn't find him. He's in this movie like twice. One time you see him in the casket, and then the next time you really, really get to see him, he's in Pompeii for some reason. I guess he's a gladiator. And I was confused with the whole thing. Now, E hit it right on the head. They know that we're watching this movie, and they know that they're in this movie. And actually, I think, ironically, even though this is the template, and maybe that's why, seeing this as a rough draft for what comes later, Scream in '96, why it does so much better, why Scream did so much better. Because to me, the first Scream, even though they are aware that they're being on the nose, and they're aware that we know that they're watching horror movies like as if they're in the real world, they're playing it straight. In this one, it's like everybody's acting over the top. I mean, Jesus, you could almost do that in the preceding films of the Nightmare franchise because it deals with the sleeping and the waking world and the blending of the two, and you don't know which one is which. In this one, it just seemed like the mother was losing her shit. I mean, she worried more about the earthquake than her husband getting brutally murdered. I didn't understand. Was it a happy marriage? What was going on? So that to me was very, very strange. Shout out to the special effects team who in the preceding movies did a better job than they did in this one. I couldn't tell you how many times it looked fake. And I said to myself, here, I have some string for you. Let me fake dangle this kid over this fake traffic. You know what I mean? And then I'll put Heather in there. It looked terrible. Arguably, they had a bigger budget on this movie. I think Mike said that this one did the worst at the box office. There's no mystery. The last time I was on the show, we just saw 6. There's no mystery. Chris said that was one of the worst performances. I'm not shocked. There's no surprise. Okay? Now, did I have some great scenes in there? Or better than the other ones in this movie? Yes. It's not Pompeii, folks. It's not them banging. It's not Heather banging her head in every scene she's in. It's not the nurse at the hospital who is trying to sedate everybody and then has no explanation for why the babysitter is up on the ceiling and the kid is missing. Then she mums the word after that. No, it's not those scenes, ladies and gentlemen. It's actually the scene that she has with Bob Shea at New Line Cinema. Because if you know, they call it the house that Freddy built, right? And when you go in there now and you see, and it's a big offices and it's his real office and everything like that, and you see all the pictures and the memorabilia and everything like that, you got to remember, this started out with a guy who used to sell distribution movies in the trunk of his car, right? Talking about Bob Shea. Even the sister Lynn Shea's in there. If you've seen the other movies that she's in, she has a cameo. She gives Dylan some medication to help him sleep and everything like that. But it's just amazing to see how this franchise really, really did create New Line Cinema. And they have a great back and forth. And it's almost like, even though they're playing in a fictionalized version, to see their relationship and how, hey, I acknowledge what you did for us. We have this next project. I want to bring you in on it. You know what I mean? Let's go back old school. It's almost like the Akkads once they took over the Halloween franchise. So you can really, really see the respect that they have for that. And I did appreciate that scene out of the chaotic Pompeii and drugging people left and right. And Freddy 2 times, because that's how many times he appeared in this movie. And that is all.
Again, there's scenes in this film that, it's everything you just said and you pointed out so brilliantly, to be honest with you, is, to me, it's 100% 80s horror. It's displayed here in the 1994 film. I look at Wes Craven and I go, what was he thinking in this attempt at this film? Other than with Vic was here would say, it's a money grab. By the time you get to number 5, that's exactly what it is. They're here to make money. And they tried something different, which clearly did not work. I have no idea what they were thinking, but did it lead the way for, say, movies like The Sixth Sense? Hey, let's put a little kid in here. Let's see him throw up somewhere all over the place and see what happens. Let's see. It's got Freddy. It can't be all bad, right? It got Freddy. It has Heather. They got to get back to things that are normal. Unfortunately, when they get to Freddy's world, this whole movie was just bizarre and weird. The special effects, I think the executive consultant already mentioned it, was just off in itself. It was just an overall bad film, but it's a horror film. He's still a Mount Rushmore of monsters and villains when it comes to the horror genre. So that's where I leave that at right there. So, oh, look, Freddy's world. Oh, I'm gonna eat the kid. Oh yeah, come here, you little girl. Let's give you this tongue action. So that's what they were doing.
Something, Mike, when you were saying this, it reminded me of something. Way back, we did the Austin Powers series. And, the first one was a sleeper hit. It did really, really great on home video. Home video was a thing, kids, that they used to have before streaming. And that's how the studio made money on a film who didn't necessarily make so much money at the box office, okay? The box office was a movie theater. Never mind. Anyway, the point is, in the follow-up, okay, The Spy Who Shagged Me Part 2, right, and Goldmember, they did these fake intros where Austin was a celebrity in that world, right? And, they would do like a fake movie, like they're filming a fake movie, and then they would have these cameos a la Batman 1960, right? Where these big name celebrities in the real world, Tom Cruise is in there and everything like that, and they would pretend to be Austin Powers shooting a movie about Austin Powers, right? And he would be behind the scenes, like cut and everything like that. The opening of this movie, when I watched it, it played like that scene where the hand, attacks them and everything like that. And ironic because who was it? Jim Carrey movie? They did the claw, whatever like that. What was that Liar, Liar, or something like that? And it reminded me of an Austin Powers film, And then the movie kept playing, and I was like, when is this fake intro going to stop? When are they really going to start acting? And it never did. And that's when I got scared. Backstage, Mike talked about what scares him most. Mike, now you know what I fear. And I don't want you to use it against me in the future. Please don't ever pick a movie like this again, please.
Bad acting? Hey, we still had to watch Date Movie. So
I've never forgiven Chris.
I'm still in the clear here. I have not picked the worst movies there are.
I can never forgive Vic.
So
I won't mention any other co-hosts, but I can never forgive a lot of people for the things they made me watch over the years.
I think that's the beauty of us here in the network. You get to watch shit you didn't think you're ever going to fucking watch. So, and hopefully they pick something that you go, hey, you know what? That wasn't so bad. Not this one. This was actually pretty damn bad in every aspect of the movie. But I think Heather has played Heather the same way she's always played Heather. I think the acting has always been the same. You go back and watch Freddy Krueger movies, I don't know how he's lasted other than the character in itself, the glove, and it being Robert Englund. I don't know as he stacks up against Michael Myers and Jason and things like that. Even at this point, Chucky, you know what I mean? So Hellraiser never gets enough credit. Pinhead for what he does, you know what I mean? So it's just amazing. But Freddy's Freddy, and hey, in '94, I used to babysit my nephew to this damn movie. And his mother, every time she picked him up, thought I was crazy because I had him watching this scary movie. And I loved it in '94. I must have been on a lot of goddamn good drugs. So, first out of high school.
You definitely were on the same drugs when you picked this movie. But we're going to have to take a commercial break. We got a lot of movies coming up. So stay with us. You're watching Unpopular Review. Find out what we're reviewing next week if I can. There we go.
Any identification on the victim?
Puzzle piece. But Jigsaw's been dead for 10 years.
It's not him. Can't be.
Help! The truth will set you free.
What's happening, shouting? The king back. I know y'all miss a pimp, right? Yeah, but dig, there's been a lot of hate going on, okay? So let me holler at you something. First of all, look at here, dog. You might have seen me in the street, but shouted, you don't know me. When you holler, when you speak, remember you don't know. You save all the hating in the popping picture.
You know, Chris, ladies and gentlemen, it's funny because he knows that I'm putting up my pictures for Recasted.
Yeah.
And it's cute to me to look at your screen and to play something related to my name. He's hilarious, ladies and gentlemen.
And the funny part is how long it took you to.
No, I heard it. And I
was
thought,
like,
he's funny. There was a time when I couldn't even hear the audio on those clips. So next week you had to look forward to Saw the whatever, starring somebody who supposedly died in the first movie. But he had 50 apprentices, okay? Spoiler alert, there's gonna be a sequel.
Jigsaw coming up on Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. right here as we try to finish up our Saw series. Right now, we're getting into we're wrapping it up after. Well, we're going to do one segment and we'll wrap it up. That's what we're going to do because we got two movies after this. Yeah, brother is tired, T.I. So take it up.
Well, because Chris is tired, we're not going to do a full show, ladies and gentlemen, but we do appreciate you for tuning in. I did actually take the time to get quotes for this, okay? Let me just cue that up real quick since I learned how to read a long time ago. Here we go. This is Heather Langenkamp and Robert Shea, or Bob Shea as they call him. I thought you killed Freddy off. Robert Shea, well, we did, but the fans, God bless them, they're clamoring for more. I guess evil never dies, right? And that's what the makers of Saw franchise said. The fans, they're clamoring for more, and we are for their money. So we'll take it. So that ties in perfectly with this. Now, as far as my recasted, well, smorgasbord, okay? Here we have Freddy, who was played by the same person. They changed leather for bone gloves. But I'm not going to recast him. I think he's always been great, even in Freddy vs. Jason, which I think arguably is probably my second favorite. I didn't say the best. My second favorite of the series. If you want to know what I think of the series, go back to when we did the series before. I've already mentioned it. But here we have Heather Langenkamp as Heather Langenkamp in this movie. She's playing herself, right? Not a real husband, not a real child, but she's playing a real version of herself in a fictionalized world, right? And this is a scene of Heather. Now, you have to pay close attention because if you didn't watch this movie all the way through, you would think, oh, she's on the phone once. No, she's on the phone throughout the entirety of this movie. We should call her secretary because she loves the phone in this movie. But towards the end, and you see that bump on her head, she gets to be more like Wendy Torrance, and that's who I'm recasting her as because she loses her shit in this movie. I'm like, Heather, they think you're crazy. Pull it back. But Heather won't pull it back. She's getting those phone calls. She's seeing Freddy when she's dreaming, even though she beat him twice. She has no idea what to do. Oh, no. How can that be? She went from smart to dumb. Here we have Miko Hughes. He's a little boy in this movie. He's a grown man now, so I'm going to talk shit about him. Miko, you might remember him from Pet Sematary when he looked the same, with that same expression. In that movie, they put him in a pet cemetery that could bring things back to life. And somebody thought, oh, that's a good idea. In this one, they said, oh, it's a good idea to put this kid in this movie. And this is how he looked throughout the entire thing there. He's playing with his oatmeal, making a Freddy face. Then he's carving up things. And I said to myself, oh, that's not Miko Hughes. I've seen this before. It's Chucky. And that's exactly who I would recast him as, because that's exactly who he played in this movie. There's a scene in this movie, ladies and gentlemen, I kid you not. Now, this little boy, okay, who weighs the same as this doll, okay, wires included, okay, has made a glove with duct tape or electrical tape, and he put little kitchen knives. I don't know how many kitchen knives they had, but on his hands, and he's chasing his mother, who throughout the movie is running with him in her arms. But for some reason, when he has the kitchen knives on her hand, she's as weak as a kitten. Chris, do we have that dog that we use, that lap dog? Is there a picture? Because I think we need to make that a unisex dog. Okay, she was so weak that I said, kill this bee, because she deserves it. If you don't fight for it, you don't want it, ladies and gentlemen. Now that's a quote from Freddy Krueger. No, I'm not going to make that joke. I'm not going to make that joke. But if you don't fight for it, you don't want it. And she clearly didn't want to live and clearly didn't want to get locked up in an insane asylum, okay? Sarah Connor, please teach your girls.
Does anybody else have a quoted or recasted? I have a quoted. I have one quoted, and that is
that's all the time we have tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
That's when the police officers visited Heather, or whatever her last name is. And she said, as she acted so well, gonna get this Oscar, she said, is he hurt? And then the female officer says, it's worse than that. So she automatically goes, is he dead? And I'm looking at her like, anyway, look, it was just a stupid scene to me. But I do have one recasted also. It's going to be kind of interesting. This person's not in the movie, but I'm still going to recast him because I don't like what he did. And that's this guy right here. This guy right here is known as Mike Knox. Now, the reason how come I'm recasting him is because any other person, when they're given a chance to pick a good movie, might have picked a better movie. So, but this guy had to turn into this guy. And I don't understand why. Okay, I'm a little lost to why he did that. But that's my recasting. Ladies and gentlemen, final review next Thursday here on Halloween. We'll be right back. Final thoughts coming. Stay with us. You're watching Unpopular Review. If I can find this. There it is.
I have seen the future of horror. His name is Clive Barker. Beyond any terror you have imagined. A nightmare. No. Unlike anything you have witnessed. Is born. Because within these walls, the unholy is unleashed. Hellraiser.
Yes, Hellraiser next Thursday, not Tuesday. Tuesday, we're still doing movies. We're still doing movies that won't end. We're doing The Never-Ending Story, part 25 on Tuesday. But on Thursday, we continue with the Halloween series. Okay, what is it? Hellraiser. I'm surprised we haven't done Hellraiser before, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, I tell you, I picked it because I've never seen this movie.
Really?
I'll tell you a fun fact. I was actually a little, I won't say afraid because I'm not no bitch, but I was a little reluctant to watch this movie for the longest time. But now that I'm a spring chicken, I said I'm going to give it a chance. So this will be my first time to watch this movie. And whoever put that up, we're going to have words later. Okay, that's all I got to say. We're going to have words later. Let's go into our final thoughts, ladies and gentlemen, so we can get ready to go to Eternal Sunshine, Spotless Mind, something like. All right, let's do this. T.I., you got to pick who's going first.
Oh, you.
Oh, okay. All right, so that's an interesting way to do it. All right, we'll make this short and sweet, ladies and gentlemen. This is how we're going to do this. This is a movie. This is a measuring stick. The results of this is this. All right, and this gets a thumbs down to me. I actually enjoyed the Batman a little bit more than this
There we
movie.
go.
This movie was bad acting. It had one decent scene, and that is when he was lifting up in some sheets and like a ghost. And I was like, please come save me. And it didn't work. So I can't say that I like this movie at all. I can't say I was entertained by this movie at all. I dozed off of this movie. I was doing intros in this movie. You know, if you are dozing off on a Freddy Krueger movie, there's got to be problems. Thumbs down for me.
Mike, are you going to let him talk about your movie? What is your final vote on this?
Yeah, I mean, nowhere will ever be Tyrone Biggums. Frankly, I thought that was his long lost twin brother. Their executive consultant looks just like him, lips and all. We all know he don't use no cocoa butter. We know Chris don't use no cocoa butter, and he don't have nothing on them elbows. I'm just saying. So, you can't recast me as somebody who is as great as I am because you just can't have nobody to play myself except for myself. And there it is. There it is. Look at you. Oh my God, Dad, is that you? That's what you should be saying. But instead, we're talking about this movie that I picked. It was absolutely horrible. And listen, in 1994, that's all I can say. I don't know what I was doing, what I was on. I actually enjoyed the movie because I love Freddy Krueger so much that took place. But overall, no, definitely a thumbs down for me for this movie. Don't know how it had a sequel this bad in this franchise. And you can see why it only made $6 million in opening weekend. So that says a lot, and not a lot for the franchise either. But Freddy's still goated, so there you are. E-Boogie?
Yeah. So this movie was enjoyable for me. I had a good time. I thought while he felt more menacing, just the concept of it kind of being brought into reality, what scared me. And there were parts that just felt like the robotic hand coming alive and stabbing people. That felt like I had a visceral reaction to that. There were definitely problems with it. I'll say it's probably like one of those bad movies you love. You know, it's something that you can go back to, you can rewatch it. It definitely has rewatchability, if not for some of the more comedic pieces, like just Freddy Krueger's whole thing, the mask, this piece. I mean, I don't know. It had a gross out factor, and that definitely is horrifying to me. So even kind of those like weird parts, it was entertaining. It did get something out of me. I was enjoying it. So, wait, are we giving our thumbs? Yeah, I'm gonna give it a thumbs up. Actually,
shout out to the telepath on the panel. You know, ladies and gentlemen, you don't know this, but I lucid dream all the time. I'm well aware, and I actually control them. I've been doing this for years, and yet somehow when I watched this movie, I couldn't make it in. Terrifying. As far as my thumbs up, thumbs down, well, I'll quote a character that this man Dave Chappelle has already played. Chris, can you put up the picture one more time?
Oh, I deleted it, but
okay. Well, here we go. I wish I had more hands, so I can give this movie more thumbs down. It's trash. This movie is trash. Mike, you should be embarrassed. Please, okay? My birthday, it passed. You missed it. But if I have one wish, please.
Nah. Ray J doesn't need to be here. We've seen worse movies.
and this is on the list. That's not good.
He has a track record of picking bad movies, so
yeah, right. Please.
Yeah, bro.
You do love Jeepers. You like Jeepers Creepers. You can't talk to me.
Which Jeepers Creepers are you talking about?
The first
I don't even remember Jeepers Creepers, and I know I've seen it.
Were great.
I think they're absolutely horrible.
Here we go. All right. Well, while we swallow our hate, you all have a great night. Thank you for tuning in. Chris, get some sleep because next week
it's not sleep. I'm about to go do Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind. Rashad's waiting on us in the next studio right as we
Let
speak.
him wait.
He has waited. He's waited 15 minutes. 15 minutes this man's been waiting. So we got to get this started. So go ahead and finish wrapping up, T.I.
Oh, I thought you had more monologue about Rashad waiting. Listen. Ladies and gentlemen, you're here for this, not for Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, okay? What do you care about that movie, all right? It sounds like it'll never end, like Tuesdays on Saw, right? But in this one, exactly, Steve. Thank you, Steve. Thank you. Thank you. I'm confused as well. Anyway, we thank you for the first of it. Who will win the crown for October? Ladies and gentlemen, me. I will. But we have a great movie coming up, Hellraiser. I'm not going to lambast this movie too much. Mike, thank you for participating in it with New Nightmare. You kicked us off right. Chris, you're trying to steal the crown. I see what you're doing. Vic has picked a movie none of us have heard of before. I'm sure it's not even a horror pick. That's why he's not here tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
Speaking of horror, shout out to Vic's wedding next week. He's getting married.
I will see you all there at the wedding. Who's going? I can't hear anybody. Okay. All right. Well, thank you. That is the show.